Okay, so I figured I'd do a little Cloudspire video for you. So this is kind of what it looks like, just set up. So when you first start the game, you don't have any towers out. So I'm just setting them up just to show you. But everything else is kind of set up like kind of how the first round would be. So you have I have the neoprene mat that just looks awesome with the sky background because you're supposed to be in the sky and floating, like these floating land masses or whatever. But so you start out with these like weird hexish kind of tile things, and you got a bunch of them, but you start with one in the middle and then go around the outside, and you have them upside down so you can randomly do it. And then you just make sure all the paths connect to each other from one to the next. Sometimes you'll have multiple paths that go off in different directions, which is fine. And then you pick your faction you want to play, and then you stick them connected to a path. That's basically the map setup. It's real simple. And then you just set up your like health chips, your market chips, your tower chips, your these are your barracks, I think they call it. So you have your heroes across the front, you have your units in these next two rows, and then the towers are these ones. And your towers, if you get the miniatures expansion, otherwise if you don't have the mini expansion, this is how you make your towers, which looks stupid. I mean, this looks cool. Not really cool when I just said that, but so yeah, so you can buy the mini expansion, and each one faction comes with their own little towers. So here's the other 3 factions and their towers. And the new expansion's coming out with the new Kickstarter. There's 2 more factions, and each faction has its own cool thing. So I can kind of, so these guys are the he's called the what are they called? Oh, the heirs, like HEI, or like your heiress to an empire. Anyways, they're like a bird faction of bird people. So they're every faction here is really cool. They're all unique. They all have their own things. Like these guys, they're really fast moving. They don't have a lot of health mostly, except for these couple units here, and they have these little bomber units. And so every unit has its own thing. Like normally, if you look at like this one, that's your basic unit. This is like the grunt one. They cost 1 to recruit. If you kill it, it's worth 2 of this source, I think they call it. And they have 2 health. They do 1 damage, and they can move 4 spaces every turn. And so the Harriers, so on the backside, they're upgraded. So it's like the upgraded unit. So you only get 1 if you kill it if it's upgraded. But if you look on the front, they do 1 damage there, but they do 2 damage here. So, and each unit has an upgrade. So, but the cool thing is so that's the Harriers faction. But if you come over here to the these guys are kind of crazy. So these are the what are these called? The Nora. And these guys are different. So you've got your unit on the front here, and he costs, so that's him. But on the back, instead of an upgraded unit, it's a completely different unit. So the way these guys work is, so these ones here, you actually, to like be able to level them up, you have to upgrade them with these. You spend your blue source here, and you upgrade your your stables and your gate port, and you put these little pegs in to let you know I've upgraded it. And then like I think in the stables you upgrade these 2 units, and then I think this one and I think this one's in a different one. Anyways, just so you upgrade them through here, and once you've unlocked it, they all come out from now on upgraded. These guys are different though, because there's basically they have a different unit on each side. So they have like 3 drifts and 3 burnouts, and so you have a lot to choose from, but they don't upgrade at all. And the cool thing about these guys is when they normally when your units like this unit, when boom, he's dead, he just comes back to your barracks and you can rebuy him again the next round. With these guys, so say he went out and and died, he actually goes here to the it's called the grave, the Forgotten Graves, and you actually have to spend a source to basically get him out of here and put him back in your barracks again. I mean, you can go through the upgrades here and upgrade to make it where you actually don't have to put them in there and they go straight back in here, but you gotta spend a lot of points and it takes a couple rounds. so yeah, that's kind of their thing, is they do that, and they've got a lot of like teleporting abilities, and they can control other units and stuff. So that's kind of these guys' thing. They can set up portal towers. So like they can have like a portal tower here and a portal tower like over here, and when the grunt units go on the path, they can run into the portal and pop out over here. So it makes them really fast, and they can like subvert other towers because you have other paths going around. So like put a portal here, and to avoid these 2 towers, you can if they had towers out of the way, you could put a portal over there and just bypass their towers, which is kind of cool to do. And then this faction is the Brahmin. They're kind of your basic one. They just I think when they kill a unit, they get upgraded, if I remember right. So every time they kill a unit, they flip to their upgraded side. That's their thing, and they're just kind of like your standard unit. There's nothing like super special about them. These guys are the Grove Tenders. They're like a tree faction, and you have these little basic units, and they can actually when they get defeated, they turn into, or not defeated, what do you call it? Let's see here. I'm freaking lose my mind. Oh, okay. So yeah, so you can have your basic unit summon like a more powerful unit. It turns that unit into this new unit. That's kind of the Grove Tenders thing, and their little towers are kind of nature driven. So some of them you can't attack them unless you're right next to them, and other ones can actually move around a little bit. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, they're all. And then these guys are the what the hell are these guys called? The Greege. They're like this insect-like race with a hive queen, and they actually are kind of like portal ones. They can actually set up tunnels and like tunnel around, and I haven't actually played them yet because I'm still getting to them on the campaign, so I don't really know their ins and outs very well. So yeah, anyways, that's just kind of an overview of the factions. They're all different, they all got their own thing, and they're all really fun to play, and they all have their own strategy and whatever to do. So like in your game, when you first start, your towers aren't here, and you have these little what do you call it? Source wells or whatever they call them, and they're covered by these chips here. So when you start out, all your units are here, and then when it's your turn, you move all your units. So your heroes can go wherever they want and do whatever they want, and based on this little symbol here tells you where they can go. If it's water, they can go anything from water, forest, plains down. So they could move anywhere. Some units like have a tree symbol, so they can go in trees and these little plains and the normal path, but they can't go in water and rock. So, but yeah, so that's kind of movement restrictions for these guys. So he can move 2 every turn. So he'll like say he'd go boom boom here, and then okay, and then you move these guys, and they do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I guess I could go here if I want. And then this guy goes 1, 2. And the difference between heroes and minions is the minions have to stay on the path. They always are trying, their goal is to just go from your base to the enemy base and start doing damage to it. So they can take like alternate paths and they can kind of zigzag and stuff, but they have to move their full movement every turn and they have to move towards the enemy base. But like say, like I came here, or let's see, that's a good example. Okay, so imagine this was a just another path, and I came around and I came around here. As long as I'm making progress towards it, I could take the long way around. So you can, there's a little bit of freedom in how you can do it if the map is laid out that way. But you always got to move forward. It's kind of the thing. That's the difference between the hero units and just the basic whatever units. Anyways, okay, so you have all these little chips under the source wells, and to get access to them, you got to flip the chips over and see what's up, see what's under them, and defeat what is under there, so you can remove it and put one of your towers on the source wells. And there's usually a reward for defeating whatever's under it. But when you come here, you can do a peek action, and you don't always have to fight it. If it has the engage keyword, you have to flip it over, but you can peek at it. If you don't want to deal with it right now, you can put it back down. But if it has engage, you flip it over. Or if you want to flip it over, and then you get the enemy's health chips. And boom, he's there. And so you'll have to defeat that to clear it. And when you do defeat it, you get 4 source. You can build up your source. And there's all different ways to build up source, to buy towers and buy upgrades and blah, blah, blah. And then once you defeat them, that's free, and you can build a tower on it, like so. And they're kind of all over the map, so you can just take your time, get them all. And then another cool thing is, in between every round, you have a market phase, and you can use the source that you've earned to buy a few things. So you can buy these, which are, I can't remember what they call them, aisles or something like that. So you can buy them, and you can place them and change the map, which is kind of cool. So like say they had a direct path to your base, but like doing something like, I don't know, like blocking it, you can like block off certain paths sometimes. Like bad example, but so like let's say there was one already here, okay, and you wanted to force the units to not go straight through and take a little bit longer way around or something, like that. So they'd have to go up and around and back down, and add like 3 or 4 spaces, or make them pass by your towers for longer. So then you could put this one like this after you buy it, and it gives you 2 source wells. So then you could, if you have influence, you can put towers here. But other than that, instead of going 1, 2, 3 to get to here, they have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get here. So you can make it longer for them, especially if you have towers built up. It'll kind of force them to run through your towers, and your towers will, based on how many attack chips they have underneath, they'll roll that many attack dice and do that much damage. And yeah, so it's very tower defensey, like what do you call it? Like League of Legends type game. And then you also, during the market phase, you can buy either, like they set out not this many every turn, like it's based on the number of players +1, but you can either draw just a unit, and this is just a basic unit like your other units down here. You can buy hero units, which stay on the board every round, because these ones will, once they're killed, they just go back into the discard pile, but these guys will stay from round to round until they're killed. You can draw different towers that just give you a tower, and you can set it up wherever. And then you get like equipment stuff. So like Reap, you could stick it under your hero here, and that means he has that equipment piece on now. And I think the reap ability is anytime he is next to a source well, even if it's got a tower on it, just anytime he's next to one of these, he will, I think he rolls this die here and he collects that much source every turn. So it's another way to get source in the game. And yeah, so your towers, you can pay source to upgrade them with fortification, which means it takes 2 damage to remove this chip. This is a range, which will increase the range of your tower. And this is a attack, how many attack dice you roll. And this is kind of cool. So the way your towers are set up is you want to stack these chips in a certain way. So like if someone comes by and wants to do damage to this tower, he has to do the damage to the very bottom one first. He can't do like damage to this one. He has to go bottom to top. And the fortification chips mean you have to do 2 damage, and not all units do 2 damage. So some units can't damage it, and even if they can, they would only take, even if they do 5 damage, they just take 1 chip off at a time. So they can never do more than 1 damage to a tower at a time per unit. So say I had this, so I have, all towers have just the range right around them, but if they have 1 green chip, then it goes out to 2. So like range 1 is basically just the normal tower range. This one adds 1 to that. So then this tower would have this, and you can get it to where you can have some of these where they'll have like 3 range, so they'll be out like way out here. But it's a trade-off because you can only put so many upgrades under it as there are these little pips right here. But these have connected, so these have really low pips, so you can only have 2 chips under there, which is really low. So connected means if you have any other towers with the connected trait up, it adds another spot for you. So the more towers you have, the more little pips you have, the more attack dice you can put under it. These guys, yeah, some have them 2, some of them have 3. And sometimes your abilities, like you have, like I think almost all of them do, have an ability of some sort, be it a unit or ability here or just an ability with the towers, to give them more upgrades than are on here. So every faction has a way to make their towers really powerful. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, you're basically just taking your units, you're moving them along, and then you're doing combat. And I guess I'll do combat real quick. So say this guy came up here and so like so. So say I came up here, so I move, and after my move I'm stopped here, so I would attack. So he could do 1 damage to someone near him, so he could do, say, 1 damage to this guy. Anytime you do, it's the first time they're attacked this turn, they can do a counter attack, so they would attack back. So he would do 1 damage back, and then that's theirs. And then since these guys can attack, it's kind of the end of the turn. Oh, but before you do all the attacking with the units, after the movement phase, unless a unit has like a quick strike ability, which I think only the heirs do, quick strike lets you attack before the towers attack, because after you finish move, it's towers attack. So these each have 1 chip, so they would target, they have a target priority, you to pick what you want. So like, so okay, I'll have this tower attack this guy, and then you roll the dice. Okay, so 1 more. And then I'll try and have the other tower attack this guy. Oh, 1 more, so boom. That guy's dead. And then after that, so after the towers, and then after the attack phase, then the other units go. And it's basically, you're just moving your grunt units to try and get here, or until they're all killed. They usually get killed off before they even get to the other base. The first round or 2. So you're using it to basically build up source, and the more source you get, the more upgrades you can buy and the more towers you can put out. And the more marketplace stuff you could buy. So it's a kind of a balance between getting more stores, picking the right combination of units and abilities that you think will conquer your enemy. So it's kind of like a puzzly, thinky combat tactical type game. So it's really, really fun. And they have the solo mode, which I freaking love. So here is, yeah, they have an entire book for solo mode, and it basically solo mode sets up these different like maps, and they look different than the normal like 2-player head-to-head map. And it tells you where to set up towers, what map pieces to put out, what health everybody starts at, what special abilities. So like they start out with towers with lots of chips under them. And so basically it's like each mission's like a little puzzle you got to solve, and like here's all the scenario rules and setup stuff, and then each wave it tells you like how much source you get, if you roll an event die or not, how many command points you get to buy units. So, and it builds up every round for 5 rounds, and then after 5 rounds you either won or lost, and you're wanting to try and get all 3 objectives completed. You can beat it with just 1 objective, but 3 means it's kind of like you did the best, so you've completed everything you can. So anyways, yeah, so that's this game. It's freaking amazing. They got an expansion coming out with a new faction. They're kind of like a pirate faction, but their base is supposed to be like a flying ship, so you can actually unlock something on it to actually make it pick up, and you can move it around. And they have these cannons, and the cannons fire in a straight line, so you can move your whatever this thing's called, your base, to a different little entry point. So like it can move from here to here, and if it's here, 2 of the cannons would line up with that one, so they could do attacks and just straight out attack the other base with these cannons. It's pretty cool. And then the other one, I've only seen bits of the other one, so I don't really know how it works, but it's another new faction with cool new abilities and blah blah blah. So yeah, this game's really, really fun. I can't recommend it enough. When they come out with the version 2, they're updating the rules and making them more clear and not so confusing, because they had to do a lot of FAQs because people were confused. But I mean, once you got it, it's pretty simple. Once you get it down, you just can play really quick, and it's real simple. But it's really, really fun, and I recommend getting the premium mat, the miniatures. I have 3D printed ones I can mail you that I'm not using anymore if you want them, but they're not as cool as the ones. And then they come with plastic chips, but you can get these premium ones, which they're the same weight as the unit chips, and they're just, I don't know, so much cooler. So anyways, yeah, dude, this game, like, I don't know, I can't pick between the 2 because they're both so awesome in their own way, so it's based on what you think you like. You like tower defense and head-to-head battles where you're not having to really think about what upgrade you want to put on your unit. I mean, like, micromanaging 1 unit, you're more micromanaging an army instead of like 1 character or 2 characters. So if you like that idea and the thought of just marching them into battle, killing each other, building towers and blowing each other up, this one is the way to go. But if you like you got like your 1 or 2 gear locks, and you're picking their talents and you're making them super powerful little individual unit, then Too Many Bones is fun. I'll set up a battle and show you how that works later. But yeah, sorry for the really bad video quality. I'm just trying to hurry and get this done because I gotta clean up for dinner, Thanksgiving today. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you think of either one. Oh, sorry, last thing. Forgot, you get event cards too. That if you're playing the 2-player game, that you pull these out every round, and it kind of changes what it basically either has a good effect or a bad effect for the round. So like this one, if you kill a hero that round, their costs you get, like the winnings you get from them, is reduced by 3. Or sometimes you get like a boost. You'll get extra CP for killing landmarks, or other units or whatnot. So anyways, yeah, let me know what you think. The game is freaking amazing, and I just recommend getting all the little things to make it this awesome. All right, later.